This is the Biz News Podcast, one-on-one conversations with experts in business and personal development.
Roger Pearson studied to become a teacher, but that did not quite result in a career in a classroom. Instead, he's been teaching small business owners ways to improve their bottom lines and their lives. Mr. Pearson was a serial entrepreneur as he searched for the right business for him. As he puts it, it's been quite a journey. But like a person hiking through a woodland, along the way he picked up ideas that seemed to work. He's been sharing them with others and offers some of his ideas in this edition of Bizgnus Interviews. Back when you were in college, I understand it that you were studying to become a teacher, but you're not one now, at least in public schools. What led to that change in career hopes that you had?
Well, I love being a teacher, but when I got to college, of course, one of the things you do in college is student teaching, and I got into the public school systems doing student teaching and found out what they're actually like and what teachers have to put up with. And I says, I would want to be here to teach, not what they want me to do. So I'd be fired every single year. So I need to find something else to do. and so I left college at that point and decided to go to the University of Life instead.
Very good. That's a good teacher for most of us, I think. Now, if you had to start your business today, would you, under today's working conditions? If so, what would you be doing anything differently?
Well, I think the important thing of running your own business is that it's important to find out what you feel your mission is, what you really, really want to accomplish. And it took me a lot of years to do that. I can't remember the number of businesses I've tried to start. I always knew since I was 20 years old, I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some type. So I went through the whole multi-level marketing things. I forget how many of those I tried until I figured out it doesn't really work. And it took me a long time to find out what I'm really passionate about. I mean, I started my own lawn care business, did that for a few years. I said, nah, the 103-degree temperatures in the summer is just not for me. I started a custodial business, and after running that for a couple of years, I said, nah, I don't like all this all-night stuff and people not showing up to work. And it's been quite a journey. I've spent 10 years managing restaurants, 5 years in supermarkets. So I've had quite an education across the broad thing. But during the 90s, I was in management for different computer companies, IBM support services and document management services and things. But I got downsized 3 times in 10 years. And I says, because not the 90s were the year of downsizing, and my jobs were just being eliminated. And I says, I don't want to go through this again. This is crazy. So my sister-in-law says, well, go take this tax class. I'll even pay for it. I said, okay, why not? And I'll do that. I just something to do while I was waiting to figure out what I wanted to do with my life at that point. At 40 years old, you come to a point where, what am I doing here? And I found I liked it. And the more years I did it, the more I liked it. And here we are 22 years later, and it's something I love. And particularly, I love working with small business people that come to see me, because with a business background, I probably have a greater understanding of the needs and necessities sitting at the tax desk as far as the entire thing. So I'm able to give them an overall perspective that you won't find when you're working with a lot of accountants and other tax professionals.
Tell us a little bit about Seagull Technologies. You're not into bird care, are you?
No, I got that name back in, I took that name from my business back in 1974. I read a book called J.L. Seagull, which is a very famous book. And I says, that describes me to a T. And so I just I took that name for my company. It's been companies. It's now a corporation, but I've just carried it with me ever since. Even on my on my corporate website, I have even the journey of the seagull there in one section, which is kind of interesting. But that's why I chose that, because of the book I read.
That was a bestseller back in the early 70s.
It really
Jonathan
was.
Livingston Seagull. How
Yep,
are you
yep.
like a bird?
Well, it's not so much like a bird, it's that the freedom and the independent spirit that Jonathan Livingston had, and that mindset that Jonathan Livingston Seagull had. And I said, that's my mindset. So I just kind of took it as my moniker.
What was it difficult to get that business out of the nest, so to speak?
Oh no, I've tried a lot of different things with that business also. I mean, that was I used it for yeah, my lawn care business. I used it for landscape design for a while. I used it for the custodial business. I've just used it whatever came along, I used it for. And I just kept it, you know.
Now, your Seagull website has a lot of links to articles and help for small business people and the dreaded word marketing. That's the Achilles heel, it seems, of many a small business person. They think they know it, but they probably don't. What do you advise in those cases?
Well, my corporate website I built, one of the questions I had at the tax guest when I was working with small business people is, I didn't know any of this after I showed them how many thousands of dollars I lost. I didn't know any of this. Where can I find this information? They don't teach it in school. I've had even business college students majoring in business in my tax classes, because for a while, for several years, I taught tax classes, who said they don't teach this stuff in college even, that you need to know to run a small business. They get you ready for the corporate world. And he was amazed at how much he actually learned more in my classes than he did in his college classes, which was kind of surprised me, but I saw the need there. So I decided to build a new website, and I do all that by myself from scratch. And I start putting this information out there, writing it, scripting it, putting it out there for free for anybody that wants to get a basic business education, you know. And since then, I've gone on to do in-depth courses on business foundations and all the things that I've learned over the last 2 decades that business people need to know.
You must see a lot of common problems, people doing the same error time and time and time again. What might a few of those be that we should be watching out for?
Well, there's three basic things to a business foundation. You have to know about legal formats and what legal formats you're going to be in. The second thing that you really need to know is how to organize your paperwork. You just don't throw it all in a box, although I've had that happen and brought to me. You don't, your accounting can't be your bank statements. I've seen that. I've had people just, here's my bank statements. This is how I do my accounting. It's just, no. And you have to know what the legal ramifications are of all those decisions that you make on the other two, and how all three of them work together in synchrony. Because your legal formation is going to determine how much tax you pay, and how you keep your paperwork is going to determine how much tax you pay and how much profit you make. They all work together. And so, I mean, that's what my advanced courses are all about. For people that really are serious about wanting to run their business and to do it properly. The other advantage of building a proper foundation and knowing it is just the confidence it gives you, because every decision you make in your business, everything you buy, every employee you hire, everything you do affects those three things. Everything comes down and affects those three things. So the better understanding of you have of building a proper foundation underneath your business is a better chance you give yourself of being successful in your business.
Building a good foundation, no doubt about it. Otherwise, things collapse later on. But what about sales, getting that top line going? What advice do you have for them?
Sales. Sales is an ever-moving target. Some of the things that I have on my website and my YouTube channel also is is going through the basic marketing. I don't propose to be a expert on marketing, but I have studied all the various offline and online and social media. And I do some free courses on that. I'm doing currently recording some YouTube channel on my YouTube channel, some courses on that. And it just gives you a basic knowledge, a broad knowledge, so that if somebody comes to you and talks to you about a particular type of marketing, if you have a broad knowledge of all these types of marketing, you're going to be able to have a better conversation with that person. So it's just I'm going to do everything on social marketing. Really? Then you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. You need to know all the different types of marketing and figuring out which one is right for your niche.
And sometimes that's pretty hard if they've grown up just using social media and perhaps not paying much attention to mainstream media.
And that's true. And it could be, depending on their type of business, that the mainstream type of media, not necessarily newspapers or anything, but handouts or sending things or card decks or even email is still the largest. People think, well, email is, and I've heard that for years. Email is, it's on its way out. It's all social media now. But what marketers are finding out, that email is still the most effective way of marketing that there is.
Well, that's surprising. I'm glad we do a lot of email. We must be doing something right, I sometimes think. Would you give our listeners and viewers the location of your website?
The corporate website is Seagull, like the bird, technologies, which is plural.com. My training website, where I have my advanced courses and my consulting services, is out at seagulltechnologiestraining.com. Although there's a link to it from the main corporate site. There's a link to everything from the main corporate site.
And what about your podcast?
The podcast, well, it's not a podcast, it's a YouTube channel. Okay. The YouTube channel is at Better Business Building Blocks with an S on the end. If you don't put the S on the end, it takes you someplace else. But anyway, that's where all the videos are there. And they're actually making videos of the foundation series course that I have on my website. I'm actually putting videos because people learn different ways. Some people learn by video, some people learn by reading, some people learn by listening. So all of the media that I try to do all three things. So no matter how you need to learn this information, you're going to have a format that works best for you.
Roger, what would you like to add that we haven't had a chance to talk about? And it could be anything, given how wide-ranging your answers have been.
Oh, the other thing I love to ask people is, would you do business with you? Now, that seems like a strange question, perhaps. But when you go and you talk to a vendor, you're whether you're going to spend your hard-earned money with them, you're going to size them up. And does this person actually know what they're talking about? Does this person have a good command of their business? Is this person going to be around if I have a problem? Okay. And what I tell people, this is another reason that you need a good foundation under your business, because believe it or not, that comes out. That comes out when you're talking to somebody, if they have a good command of what they can and what they can't do. And what they can offer and what they can't offer, because the businessman that doesn't know if they're making profit or not is not going to be able to sit down and negotiate anything with you. They don't know their business well enough to see if they can. So these are the type of things I talk to people about. Well, there's a lot of other things too. Those are the main things.
And all you need is that seagull to come and visit occasionally. It
is, And some people, all they need is an hour consulting time. Some people want to learn the entire thing. Some people want me to come in and do an analysis of their business and see if there's any structural changes or other changes they need to make that could help improve their business, But I'm not interested in the corporations and everything. I really love talking to the small business people, They're the ones that make this country work. And then the more that I can help them the better. I figure that, at the end of my days, and, I'm in my 70s now, so, I've got maybe 30, 40 years left, but uh, I figure your perspective kind of changes over time. I mean, when you first start out in your 20s and 30s, I mean, success means how much money you're going to make or how many possessions and everything. But when you get to my point in life here, it's those things aren't as important. I mean, they're nice to have, but I think the things that are really important at this time and this stage of life is at the end of my days, I want to be able to look back and say, how many people's lives did I make better? That's what real success is to me. And this is what I'm trying to accomplish.
You've been watching the Biz News Podcast. We welcome your input. Send your email to editor@biznews.com. Thanks for watching.